Can Joe Shane work some cap magic to make the Giants competitive again in 2025? Got a little article here from coming from bigblueview.com, and we're going to kind of go over it, and we're going to hopefully learn something together. I'll give you my take. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read all the way through it yet, so I don't know what it says, but we're going to go over it, and it just kind of caught my eye. I was like, oh, can Joe Shane, can he actually? Giants have a little bit of cap room. I don't know exactly how much. I'm sure the article will tell us how much they have, but we're gonna kind of read the article and kind of give my take on what I think might happen with the New York Football Giants this coming off season. I know we're all getting impatient. We all are tired of the team sucking. Sometimes it's like I'm almost embarrassed to be a Giants fan, but I'm not. I still support them. And I'm optimistic about this off season. Hopefully things work out good. Anyway, can Joe Shane work cap magic to make the Giants competitive again in 2025? Again, this is courtesy of bigblueview.com. More than welcome to go look it up, but I'm here so you don't have to. Everybody has their opinion on what the Giants' problems are and what they need and what they should do with their number 3 pick. And I don't know, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of chit chat going on about, the Rams are willing to give him Matt Stafford for the 3rd pick. And I think that would be a dumb idea if that's all they're going to do. Matt Stafford's not worth a number 3 pick. No, not even close. Is Matt Stafford good? Would he improve our team? Yeah, absolutely. But 3rd pick, I don't think so. But anyway, on to the article. Let's read on here. Obviously, this is a big offseason for Joe Shane, Brian Daboll tandem that was brought in by New York Giants owner John Mara and Steve Tisch early 2022. Fielding one competitive team in 3 years isn't going to cut it, so the pressure will be on for the team to make a 2025 season a good one. I think they're really under a lot of heat. They came in strong first year. They came in playoff team. I don't know if it was just a fluke or what, but it was something that just happened. And I know that they're getting very frustrated with the organization as a whole. And unfortunately, we've gone through a lot of coaches and a lot of GMs, more coaches, but a lot of coaches in the last 10 years. We really can't afford to keep going through coaches. Turnover rate, that's not good for a struggling team. That's why teams continue to struggle, is their coaching turnover, especially with a young quarterback like Daniel Jones was. I think he had potential. I mean, y'all might disagree. Y'all might call me an idiot, but I think he had potential. I wouldn't say necessarily the Giants ruined Daniel Jones's opportunity or ruined his career, but going through all those coaches for a young developing quarterback that's really not, that good is hard on a quarterback. And, if let's just say the Ravens would have waited 1 year, missed out on Lamar Jackson, and they would have picked him up, he would have been a lot different quarterback. If the Steelers would have picked him up, he'd have been a lot different quarterback, because the coaching, the system's been the same for years and years and years, and he's not constantly switching coaches, that, coaching styles, he's not systems. He's not really. So I have my opinion on Jones. I think he had some potential, but, it is what it is. He's gone now, and, nothing I can do about it. But anyway, the problem is with that season-long sword of debacle, whatever they call that, debacle hanging over their heads, they may be tempted to make some rash moves. You must like trading for a 40-year-old future Hall of Fame quarterback, then acquiring 4 of his former wide receivers, only to have it blow up. Let's say that was kind of like Jets did. Seriously, if the Giants are not to go the way the New York Jets, they have to improve this season while also setting the team up for long-term success. Almost everything Joe Schoen has done suggests that he's tried to build a winner in what he sees as the right way, letting positional value dictate the size of contract he offers, using free agency moderately to fill holes but mostly avoid big ticket items, primarily building through the draft, acquiring only high character players, and extending star players before their contract year. I think that's kind of what they did with Saquon. He was a high ticket item, and he's never really been known to pay running backs a lot of money. You look at when he was with the Bills, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. They didn't really have and he tries to avoid the big ticket free agents, and that could be a problem. He tries to avoid the big ticket free agents. The big superstars that are coming available. I mean, he doesn't like to pay people a lot of money, unfortunately. And that's why Saquon Barkley left. He didn't want to pay that much money. And don't get me wrong, can't stand the Eagles, but I'm kind of happy for Saquon. He made the right choice by moving. Whether because some may say, "Oh yeah, we let him go." But I mean, get real though. How much better would the Giants have been if Saquon would have stayed? Another win, maybe two more wins. I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, I can't say that, but it's tough to say. But he wouldn't have had near the season he had on an individual basis if he'd have stayed with our team. It wouldn't have happened. I think for his sake, he made the best decision he could make. It was not a good fit for him in the Giants uniform. Unfortunately, it's an admirable goal. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked for 3 seasons. The Daniel Jones saga has been discussed to death, but the die was cast for that to always be a messy situation as soon as he took the Giants' job, and Jones outperformed his history in the first year with Daboll. Schoen had no choice but to make had a choice to make, and as the Grail Knight said to Indiana Jones, he chose poorly. Again, I have my opinion on that. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily. It wasn't that. I don't think it was a poor decision to re-sign him. I think it was a poor decision to give him that kind of money. Yeah, absolutely. He wasn't worth as much as they signed him for. He could have cut that contract a little bit and use some of that money to get him some offensive line or something else to help protect him or something. So yes, it was a poor decision. But again, everybody has their opinion, and I know I'm going to get chewed out for even suggesting that they should have still re-signed him. Just not for that much. He was definitely not worth the money they signed him to. But again, I don't think it was all his fault. One season he got hurt, so it's like, how can you blame somebody for a bad season when you're hurt 3/4 of the season? The next season you're battling and battling and battling. You're getting, sacked as soon as you get the ball. You're getting rushed, and it's hard. It forces you to make poor decisions, and so it's a team effort. I don't think it was totally Daniel Jones's fault. But you know what? Again, like I said, everybody has their opinion, and I know it's gonna come back to bite me for saying this stuff. But you know what? I don't care. Anyway, Shane's first 2 drafts were mostly bad, and only in his 3rd crack did it seem to redeem himself. Hopefully, that's a trend and not a 1-year exception. But one data point doesn't make a trend. His first few first-round picks weren't the greatest. This last one, hopefully he can make it right. He was excellent his first year, Mr. Malik. But hopefully, like I said, they don't, because you can take a good player and put him on a bad team and ruin his career. So hopefully it's not just a thing. Hopefully, we can keep that fire going in him and not bring him down and want to drag him out. Building the right way doesn't work anymore in the NFL. That's what this post is about. The Super Bowl pitted team with so many players who've gotten into trouble. You could make a police lineup out of them against a team that spends so much money that they may rename themselves the Los Angeles Dodgers. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, but maybe it'll tell us. Like the Dodgers in the World Series, that team won the Super Bowl handily. Shane has to learn from that. Like the Dodgers in the World Series, that team. Okay, whatever. The question is, will Mara and Tish let him? The NFL salary cap is supposed to create a level playing field that prevents situations like you have in baseball. See, baseball doesn't have salary caps. You can pay them and pay them and pay them. That's why the Yankees are always so good, because they can just pay all the best players so much money, and then they've got all that talent. And football, that's what I like about football. They have that cap where everybody gets to spend the same amount of money, so you better make it work, Where a few teams with lots of money are the only ones with any chance to win the World Series. Still, relative wealth can play a role in the NFL. Every team has the same salary cap to deal with, but cash spent is not limited in the same way that cap space is. With creative accounting, owners can spend as much as they want. Mara, $500 million, and Tish, $1.6 billion together are only the 14th richest NFL owners. That's a lot of money, but to only be the 24th richest NFL owners, that's a far cry from the 77 billion Rob Walton-led Denver ownership group is. The Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, 4.4 billion, is only the 20th richest, but still, that's more than twice what Mara and Tish together have the piggy bank. It's not clear whether that has any effect on what Shane is allowed to do. Where all this matters is in the accounting tricks that GMs can use to remain cap compliant while getting money to players up front to induce them to sign contracts and extensions. The most well-known trick is signing bonuses, which is completely paid to the players up front as soon as he signs, but which for accounting purposes is prorated for the life of the contract or beyond by using void years. There are also option bonuses that trigger after contract year one, but are not necessarily guaranteed. Take, for example, the fascinating 5-year, $255 million, $51 million annual value contract signed last year by Jalen Hurts. Though the first 2 years of the contract, Hurts has cost the Eagles less than $20 million in cap space. The cash flow to Hurts' bank account is something different, though. Hurts has already realized $60 million of that contract money. And as for the start of the 2025 NFL season, that will rise to $102 million. Players get paid, teams get a ring. Players get paid, team gets a ring, everyone is happy. The little detail is that the contract blows up in the later years. In 29, for example, Hurts' cap hit will be $97.55 million. Again, though no problem for 2 reasons. Those little symbols on the far left column where the contract triggers. If I understand correctly, each of them is another option bonus that teams can exercise at that time if it wishes. If they do, they just allocate the cost of it to the cap, though through as many as 5 void years following. So they get to keep kicking the can down the road, never actually seeing $97.5 million cap hit in any year. 2. Over the cap projects the salary cap to go from $272.5 million in 2025 to $314 million by 2027, i.e. 45.1 extra cap space in just 2 years. By that time, they get to 20 by the time they get to 2029, that $97.5 million cap hit for Hertz will only be about the same as the increase in cap, i.e., they are paying for Hertz with cheaper dollars. Okay, so we're gonna go down. So basically, it's talking about like just how they're gonna restructure the cap. Okay, so we're gonna skip a lot of that contract mumbo jumbo because I mean that's accounting stuff, and some of us aren't accounting and we don't really. Some of that's a little bit of not really needing to know stuff, but there are some things to consider. Like here are some highlights of what Joe Shane might consider doing. The Giants' best bet for significant roster cuts are Graham Gano and Raheem Nunez Roches, who together would free up $6.765 million cap space. Not a whole lot. He could gain almost $40 million by simply restructuring of the Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas, and Dexter Lawrence contracts, and almost another $8 million by doing the same with Bobby Okereke and John Runyon Jr. I think those are good moves. Re-sign those guys, restructure those guys so that they stick around because we don't need them leaving. They're like, right now, they're like the heart of our team, so we can't really. So I think that would be a good move. Extending any of Jermaine Illuminor, Kevon Thibodeau, Evan Neal would bring 2 to 4 million extra cap space. Of those, I don't even know how to say that last name. Numor seems most likely candidate for an extension if he agrees to one. Let's see here. So that's pretty much covers about most of it. Skim through some of the rest of it here. That's more than 50 million of cap space Shane could potentially add on top of the 32 million the Giants already have. Plenty of room for signing potential veterans starters at bridge quarterback, defensive tackle, cornerback, and safety, as well as offensive line depth. That's what we need to work on more is offensive line depth. We don't need. I mean, we need a quarterback, obviously. Defensive. I mean, we need all those positions, but I think more of the offensive line is really where we need to focus a lot more on than some of those other places. While also re-signing a few in-house free agents such as Azeez Ojulari and or Darius Slayton. I like Darius Slayton. I think he's good. I think he would be a good re-sign option. But, I mean, there's other talent out there too. He's not the greatest, but I think he's pretty good. I think he fits in pretty well. If they can be had at a reasonable price, that would leave quarterback, edge defender as the two positions to target with the number 3 and number 34 pick in the draft, in some order, and the freedom thereafter to target the best player available at any other position with the remaining picks. I'm still not totally on board with picking a quarterback at number 3. That's all. I mean, I'm not I don't know. I'm still not on board with that idea. Again, call me crazy, chew me out, whatever. I don't care, but I'm still not on board with the quarterbacks that they got here. I mean, I like Dart, he's good, but I'm not really totally on board with a lot of these picks. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. Like I said, I didn't read this article before I came on to do the video. Hey, there's a cool article, and I haven't done a video on this channel for a while, so I figured I may as well talk about some Giant stuff. And I'm optimistic. Sounds like they got a pretty good cap room, and they could free up a lot more cap room. Hopefully they don't just start cutting people, because, I mean, yeah, that's a good way to free up some money, but, I think restructuring some of those contracts, and I think a lot of that could be beneficial to do, and that could free up some money, and hopefully we can get some free agents to want to come here, because right now the team's such a mess that I don't think any of the good free agents are going to want to just, hey, let's go to the Giants. They got a lot of work to do. I mean, just having a good receiver isn't enough to make somebody want to come to the Giants. They got that good young running back as a kind of potential Saquon Barkley replacement. That's, he's obviously not a Barkley. He's a Tyrone Tracy, but he was showing some pretty good potential. He was showing some heart and some potential back there, and really, I think that's what they need is some good want to be there. Guys that want to be there. I think that's the biggest part is set that culture, make it so people want to go there. People don't want to play for New York Giants or New York Jets or whatever. They don't want to play for those teams. Those teams are no good. We haven't been good for years. And it's hard to, when you got Saquon Barkley leaving, he was the by far the most popular and the best player on the team. I mean, with hands down, I don't care what you say, he was the best player on the team. I mean, there's other good players on defense. There's other good, but he wasn't going to help us out much at where we are. He made a good decision. He left, but anyway, it's not like I said. It's the culture. They need to set a good culture, and they need to make it so players want to be here. I mean, it would have been good to keep him. If we could have kept Barkley, picked up Malik Neighbors, build our line, fight. That would have been a good team to build it around Saquon Barkley. But they just, they let him walk, they let him go, and now hopefully they can still make it work from there. But anyway, again, like I said, I'm optimistic this off season. Hopefully, I'm kind of excited to see what happens. I mean, I always am, and then I end up getting disappointed. But I'm optimistic every year. I'm not Cowboys fan optimistic. I'm not, this is our year, we're winning the Super Bowl. But I'm optimistic that improvement. That's all we got to do, and make a good improvement. Make at least make a competitive season out of it to where you're at least contending for a playoff spot, not contending for the number one pick. We don't want the number one pick. Who wants to finish last place? Let's fight for a playoff spot. Let's fight for at least reasonable. Like, even if we don't make playoffs, at least we put up a fight. We were almost there. We were on the brink. We were on the, we were one of the on the bubble teams, or we were in contention teams. I mean, even if we don't make it next year, I mean, a good improvement would sure be helpful. Anyway, video's getting kind of long. Didn't want to make it this long. I just saw a little article about the Giants and hadn't put on a video in a while, and so I figured I'd come on and do a little video and talk to you guys and give you my take on some things, and hopefully we can see some big improvements this year, and we can get back to where we want to be, because we're due. As you can see back here, our Super Bowls, we're about due. We're due for another run where we can get a couple more up there. Seems like every, 10 years? 86 and 90 and 07, that's 20 years. 20 years. But still, we're 10 years out from, But anyway, we're due. We're due for at least another one. Maybe add another couple up there. But anyway, that's not the point. We got a long way to go before we start talking Super Bowls, but we have the history of it. And I think we can get back there if we just make the right decisions. I don't think Joe Shane's a horrible GM. I think he's one of the better GMs we've had in a while. He didn't come into a great thing. He came into a bad situation. Letting Barkley go and making some of these other decisions he's made he's not very popular, that's for sure. But I think he's got the right ideas. I think he's got the right, he's got to, look what he did to the Bills. Look what he pretty much built that Bills team that there are right now that are competitive. But every team's different. But anyway, enough of that. Thought I'd just come on and do a quick video that ended up not being a very quick video. But anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. Do the YouTube stuff, hit the like and the subscribe and, all that stuff. We're me and my son, he's not here. He's a Chiefs fan, and he was a little bummed over the Super Bowl, but it is what it is. But anyway, he's normally with me. We normally try and do a duo here, but it's kind of late, and he's, doing his own thing right now with what kids do. But, you'll see him again. We'll be back. We'll be back at least, you know, we'll start doing some videos again. We just moved and we, changed our little office room here that we were doing videos in, so we just moved. So we're still getting that done, but well, he'll be back. We'll be back. We're gonna do some more videos. So anyway, enough of that. Appreciate y'all. Love you. Do the YouTube stuff. Subscribe, like, you know the stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. And go G-Men.